He's one of the most fiscally conservative guys I ever met, and by judging by the shirt he's wearing, you can tell that. John, thanks so much, and Josh Mandel, you need to send this man to the United States Senate. We are with you, buddy. And thanks for sending a great member of Congress, one of my buddies in the House, Pat T-Berry. He is a conscientious, smart leader. It is good to be back here in Big Ten country. You know, I think the season opener is my alma mater, Miami of Ohio, against Ohio State. Go Miami, huh? All right, I know. There's one football game I never miss every year, whether it's in person or on TV, and that's the Buckeyes versus the Badgers. What a great rivalry we have. Okay, go back, sorry. You know, we've got a big decision to make as a country. This is a clear choice, and this is not your ordinary election. This is not who's going to be president for the next 4 years. This is what kind of country are we going to have for the next generation, for ourselves and our families. And it's a really clear choice. Do we want 4 more years of the same? No! Do we want a nation in debt? No! A nation in doubt? No! A nation in decline? No! That's right, we don't. We need leadership. We need somebody to get the American idea turned back on by reigniting the values that built the American idea in the first place. Here's the problem. President Obama and too many politicians like him in Washington have been more worried about their next election than they are about the next generation. And so, he's out of ideas. All he's offering is more of the same. Look, let's be clear. President Obama inherited a difficult situation when he came into office. Here's the problem. He made it worse. We're not going to do that. We're going to lead. And what we are seeking to do together with you is to earn your support, is to deserve victory. So that when we win, we have the mandate and the moral authority to fix the mess in Washington and get this country back on the right track. But it requires leadership. It requires people of vision and courage and principles. You know, the historians tell you the qualities that make a great leader. A person has to have a bedrock of principles, a moral compass, a vision for the future, and the proven experience and ability to execute that vision, to put it in place. Amen. The man who has those qualities is the man who's standing next to me. His name is Mitt Romney, and he's going to be the next. Look at the man. Look at the experience. This is a family man. Remember the Olympics back in the late 1990s? Remember all the reports of corruption, of wasteful spending, of bloated spending? Sounds kind of familiar today, doesn't it? This is the mess they had in Utah and Salt Lake. What did they do? They looked around the country and they said, who is a leader that can help us fix this mess and get the country and the Olympics back on the right track? It was Mitt Romney. He made us proud then, and he'll make us proud again. Look at his experience in business, and by the way, having that kind of experience is a good thing. Being successful in business is a good thing. When people work hard, when people take risks, when people succeed, we should be proud of that. We don't resent people's success. We want to emulate people's success. This is a man who started small businesses. This is a man who turned around struggling businesses with an astounding degree of success. He helped create companies like Staples, Bright Horizons, Sports Authority. This is a man who I am so proud to stand by, who through his personal experience and values knows that if you have a business, you did build that. And if you want to see a clear contrast on a track record of leadership, look no further than the leadership Mitt Romney provided as governor versus the leadership, or lack thereof, that President Obama is providing. President Obama came into office promising to lower the unemployment rate. It would never get above 8% if we just passed this stimulus legislation. It's been above 8% for 42 months. The unemployment rate in Massachusetts went down under Mitt Romney's leadership. Family income, we just saw some new, really ugly statistics this morning about how the middle class has been hit so hard in the last 3.5 years. Family household incomes have gone down by more than $4,000 over the last 4 years. Under Mitt Romney's leadership, when he was governor of Massachusetts, they went up by $5,000. We have nearly 1 in 6 Americans today who are living in poverty today. That's the highest rate we've seen in a generation. President Obama's ideas aren't working. Remember, when he came into office, he and his party controlled it all. They passed just about everything on their agenda item, and now we're suffering the consequences as a result.
Abomination.
Remember when President Obama came in and he said, there aren't red states, there aren't blue states, we're all the United States of America. We're not going to be doing childish, petty things. This is the 3rd president I have served with, and this is the most acrimonious, partisan, bitter atmosphere I have ever seen. When Mitt Romney was governor of Massachusetts, a Democratic state, and he was a Republican governor where the legislature was controlled 87% by Democrats. What did this man do? He didn't demonize. No. He reached across the aisle and he balanced the budget without raising taxes. The credit rating of Massachusetts was improved, and for the first time in the history of our country, because of a lack of leadership, the credit rating of our nation was downgraded under President Obama. You see, he's run out of ideas. He can't run on this miserable record. So what's he got left? He's going to divide this country. He's going to distort our record. He's going to demagogue. He's going to try and do this to try and win an election by default. Hope and change has now become attack and blame. It's a campaign based on anger and frustration. And you know what? We're not going to fall for it, are we? Every now and then, the president sort of drops the veil and gives us a glimpse into his worldview, his governing philosophy, what he truly believes. You know, you guys know Joe the plumber, right? Yeah. Remember that comment, we're just going to spread the wealth around? Yeah. It's this belief that the economic pie is fixed. That one person's gain necessarily comes at another person's loss. It's the idea that the pie is fixed and it's the government's job to redistribute the slices of the pie how they see fit. That's a bunch of baloney. And I'm not talking Oscar Mayer baloney, that's just a bunch of baloney. We want to grow the pie so everybody has a chance at the American idea. Restore the right to rise. Francisco. And he said, people like us from these Midwestern states, we like to cling to our guns and our religion. All I'm going to say is one thing. This Catholic deer hunter is guilty as charged. Big deer here in Ohio. I spent 4 years hunting deer here. You got some good deer. Now, the last one, the doozy, the one that takes the cake, in Roanoke, Virginia, not long ago. We can all mouth it in our minds. When he said, if you have a business, you didn't build it, someone else did that. It reveals this idea that we need a government-centered society with a government-run economy. We've seen these ideas in place before. Go home, turn on your TV, and see how it's working out in Europe. If we copy European policies, we will get European results, and that's what President Obama's taking. He's saying, we're not going to let that happen. So here is our commitment to you. We will not duck the tough issues. We will not kick the can down the road to the next generation and have a debt crisis like here. We will lead. We will not blame others. We will not blame all these other people. We will take responsibility. And most importantly, we will not try to transform this country into something it was never intended to be. Liberty, freedom, free enterprise, self-determination. Government, by consent of the governed, not the other way around. Those are the principles that built this country. And so we will not try to replace our founding principles. We will reapply our founding principles. It takes leadership. You've got a courageous governor who's doing such great things. Imagine how many more jobs we can create if we fix the mess in Washington. We have a plan for a stronger middle class, for a higher take-home pay, for more jobs, but it's more than just that. It's about reclaiming the idea of this country. It's the only nation founded on an idea. It's precious. Our rights come from nature and God, not from government. Never have I seen such a clear choice of two futures. Amen. Never before have we seen a moment where the man and the moment meet perfectly. Mitt Romney is the exact kind of leader we need for this exact time. I am so proud to be standing here with this man. I am so proud to be traveling the Buckeye State with this man. I am so proud to be saying I'm standing next to the next President of the United States.
As a son of Michigan, I have to keep that kind of down. You got a border patrol problem if you ever be coming from Michigan. I want to thank you for your warm welcome, and don't you think I picked a great guy to be my friend? Now, I knew I was going to come here, to speak an extraordinary address as he did, but I didn't realize he was going to wear the brightest green I've ever seen. This guy is a standout of governors across the country. He's at the center of the stage. You got a great governor. You got to make sure he gets that. And get Judge Mandel to help us in Washington as well. You know, I happen to hear this faint sound in the distance. You may hear it. It actually reminds me a bit of the president's address 4 years ago speaking to the convention in Denver, because, you know, he's speaking in front of those Greek columns, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
This is kind of like the Greek chorus in the background. Everything they do reminds us of Greece, and we're not going to Greece. Speech last night. I'm not kidding. I pulled out his speech that he gave in Denver. It's really a brilliant speech. He says marvelous things. He just hasn't done them. My guess is that a few weeks from now he'll be speaking at the Bank of America Arena. He won't call it that. He'll be in Charlotte. And he probably won't put Greek columns up behind him. He won't want to remind us of that either. But he will have all sorts of promises to offer again. It'll tell you how much better things are now. But you know, this time, we have more than just the words. We have the record. And we understand the big gap there is between what he promises and what he hopes, what he actually delivers. And that's why this November, the people of Ohio are going to make sure we get a Republican in the White House. The first thing he said was that he measures progress differently than do people like us. Actually, as I listened to how he measures progress, I measure it the same way, so he was wrong on that. But he said, number one, he measures progress by whether people are able to get good jobs. But under this president, 23 million Americans are out of work or stopped looking for work or can only get part-time jobs. It's a travesty. He said he would do one thing, he did another. We're going to put in place someone who actually knows how to get the job done. I was able to get unemployment down to 4.7%. Would you like 4.7%? Your governor's on the right track. You see, he's doing here in Ohio the exact things that have to be done to get small businesses to grow and thrive and big businesses to expand and hire more people. This is about more jobs and more take-home pay. It's not about rhetoric. It's about getting the job the American people need, and we will do just that. He also said he measured progress by whether incomes are going up or incomes are going down.
He lost that one.
Okay, he lost that one too. Yeah, guess what's happened over the last 3.5 years? Just as Paul indicated, incomes in America for the average family have dropped by $4,000. With the median income in this nation of about $50,000, a $4,000 reduction is enormous. And think about costs for gasoline and utilities and food and health care. He also said, by the way, he'd bring down the cost of health insurance this year by $2,500 per family. Have you seen that? No. As a matter of fact, the average family has seen health insurance prices go up by $2,000 and $500 a family. This is a president who says one thing and can't deliver. It's finally time to get a president who can do what he actually says he'll do. Out there is chanting 4 more years. Do you want 4 more years? Do you want 4 more years of declining wages? Do you want 4 more years of home values in the basement? Do you want 4 more years of the big banks getting bigger, the small banks getting smaller? Do you want 4 more years of Barack Obama? We have a very different vision for this country. The reason the president's failed in doing what he said he'd do is because his basic and fundamental belief about America just doesn't square with the America you and I know. He doesn't understand what it is that makes America's economy so powerful, so dynamic, and so unique in the world. I've had the thrill over the last couple of years of going across the country and meeting people across America. Small businesses, big businesses. I met a woman who has her own upholstery company. I said, how'd you get in business? She said, well, my husband lost his job and he took a class in upholstering, and she, being the better business mind of the family, she started a company and hired him as her first employee. And she went on to hire 40 more. Now she has a successful upholstering business. I met another woman just a couple of weeks ago, in High Point, North Carolina. She has North Carolinian over there. She has a furniture business, tough competing with China in furniture when they cheat on their currency as they do. And she had to try and find a way to save her company and save the jobs of the people that work there. And she found a way. She makes a very special kind of furniture, hospital waiting room furniture. Now she dominates that. And by focusing on something so narrow, she's been able to keep her business together and her employees together. By the way, just a word to the women entrepreneurs out there. If we become president and vice president, we want to speak to you. We want to help you. Women in this country are more likely to start businesses. This guy's name is Jim Leotone. Jim comes from Southern Illinois. Graduated second in his high school class. Second from the bottom, that is. He concluded that the college wasn't part of his future, but he convinced his dad to give him a loan, and they split the business. He'd start 50-50. He wanted to make food, a restaurant kind of business, and deliver it to people. So he went out to buy one of those hamburger grills and those rollers that make the hot dogs and the hood that takes out the smoke. Way more money than he had. The only thing he could do with the money he had was make sandwiches. So he set up some tables in a garage and made sandwiches and delivered the sandwiches to people at work. And now Jimmy John's has 1,500 restaurants and employs 60,000 people. She was the woman in High Point, North Carolina, and Jimmy John. It's people like that who take risk, who work hard, who start businesses, who hire other people. These individuals in this country, we celebrate them. We acknowledge their achievement. We love their success. We don't attack success in America, and we will never apologize for success abroad. The president has a very different view. He fundamentally believes that government is the source of our great strength and economic vitality. Look, we value our government. We value the people who work in government, from the bus drivers to the police and teachers and people who even work in bureaucracies. They're essential to keep our country going. Don't forget, we pay for them as well, but we do value them. But we also recognize that what makes America unique is not just that we have a government with government workers and bureaucrats, but we have free people, and the job of government is to protect the freedoms of the people so they can build a better life for themselves and for their communities. When the founders wrote that Declaration of Independence and said that the Creator gave us our rights, they were both inspired and brilliant in my view, and those rights included life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. In this nation, people are free to pursue happiness as they choose. And so for hundreds of years, they've come here with dreams, hopes of building a better future for themselves and for their children. And some succeed brilliantly, like Jimmy John and Melanie McNamara. And others succeed in other ways. People succeed by working hard and getting a promotion at work and being able to save money for their kids' education. People succeed by working hard and getting on the honor roll as a kid. And let me tell you, if your child gets on the honor roll, works hard, studies, does well on the test, makes the honor roll, I know that to get to school, he or she had to get on a school bus. But when they make the honor roll, congratulate them. Don't say thanks to the bus driver. dreams. Look around the world. It's here where the dreamers come. Not a lot of dreamers in North Korea, are they? The dreams they have there are just getting out. Not a lot of dreamers in Cuba. They wish they could come here with relatives in this country. This is the land that promotes dreams and the vision of individuals, and it is the freedom of individuals we will protect and reignite America's economy. I'm convinced that you're going to see, by virtue of our administration, this economy come roaring back. We're going to do that are really going to get this economy going. And I think you know what they are. Number one, we're going to take advantage of our energy, our oil, our coal, our we're going to do what the President said he'd do, which is we're going to get America, North America, independent for energy within the next 10 years. America is going to be energy independent. Make sure that our workers have the skills they need to succeed and that our kids are given the skills that will allow them to succeed. It is inexcusable in the nation that invented public education to have our kids performing in the bottom quartile. The president just can't do what he knows he should do because his largest campaign contributors are the teachers' unions. If we were president and vice president, we will put the teachers and the kids first and the union behind. We're going to take advantage of trade and make trade work for America. We're productive. We can compete with anyone in the world successfully. I want to open up new markets, particularly in places like Latin America where there's a growing middle class. It's a huge opportunity for us. We speak the language, we're in the same time zone. So we have opportunity there. But at the same time, I want to make sure that people in trade who cheat recognize there will be consequences. We won't stand for it. China has cheated. I'm going to put an end to it. Number one, energy. Number two, the skills we need to succeed. Number three, trade. And number four, this is an important one as well. You're not going to have entrepreneurs risk all their savings and convince their family to invest in their business. Nor are you going to have big multinational companies decide to build factories in Ohio or anywhere else in America if they think we're headed to Greece. And if we keep spending massively more than we take in, that is where we're headed. And therefore, if we're president and vice president, we will do everything in our power and accomplish this goal. We will cut federal spending, we will cap federal spending, and we'll fight against the attractive there's one more. And that is, number five, champion small business. Help small business. Big businesses are able to accommodate, in some cases, all the regulations that get thrown on them because they have all the lawyers and the scale. They can even sometimes handle the big tax rate, highest taxes in the world on corporations here, because they have businesses all over the world. Big companies like GE, as you saw, paid no tax a year or two ago. That's because of all the operations they have around the world. But if you're in a small business, if you're in a dry cleaning operation, or you're starting a taxi business, or you got a small software company, let me tell you, those regulations and those taxes are crushing the small business. The president wants to raise the tax on small business from 35% to 40%. That's not what it is. By the time you pay the state tax, which is just a little under 6%, and then you pay sales tax and gasoline tax and real estate tax, when you find out that the government is taking well more than half of what you make. And so people decide, well, I'm not going to begin my business. That's why we're at a 30-year low in this country for new business startups. I want to make sure that we help entrepreneurs and innovators. I want to speak to the women of America who have dreams, who begin businesses in their homes, who begin businesses out in the marketplace who are working in various enterprises and companies. I want you to be successful. Our campaign is about making it easier for entrepreneurs, women and men, to start businesses, to grow businesses. We will champion small business because we know that's where our jobs come from. We know that if we get this economy going with energy that's abundant, by getting the skills people need, by opening up new trade and cracking down on cheaters, by finally getting us to a balanced budget and being a real champion of small business, America is going to surprise the world. We're going to stand out as a shining city in the hill. Saying this is a vote about the soul of America. What kind of an America are we going to have? We have laid out an America that's based upon the skill, the capacity, the dream of each individual, and the government that protects their rights and encourages them to be able to realize those dreams. That's our vision. The President's vision is one of a larger and larger government taking more and more and trying to provide more and more to you. It takes us on a road to Europe, or worse, California. Just kidding about that. Sort of. Look, I don't want to become Europe. I want America to remain America. The hope of the earth, the shining city of the hill. We know how to do that. We're going to bring it back. We know how critical it is. Look, this is important not just for us, for our generation.
Yes.
It's critical for our kids. We can't pass on trillions of dollars of debt to the coming generation for things we paid for ourselves. We can't do it. I know the President's going to go to that convention. He's going to have all sorts of marvelous things to say. I mean, I can almost read his speech now. It'll be filled with promises and tell people how wonderful things are. Of course, they'll have to contrast that with what they know they're experiencing. But as he lays out all these wonderful things he's going to do, people are going to stop and say, but how are you going to do something different than last time? They've experienced the last 4 years. They know if they re-elect him, they get 4 more years of the same. It is not his words that people have to listen to. It is his action and his record. And if they look at that, they'll take him out of the office and put people into the office and allow him to get America. We made our commitment to you. With every source of our energy and passion in becoming President and Vice President, we will endeavor to make America stronger. We'll endeavor to protect our freedoms and our rights, to encourage the dreams of individuals. We'll do our very best with all of our energy to ensure that America is stronger. Stronger in our homes, stronger in our values, stronger in our economy, stronger in our military. A military from America must be so strong, no one would ever think it's because of our founding documents and our commitment to freedom. We're going to bring America back by reasserting and reaffirming and restoring those principles. We're not going to become Europe. We're going to stay America. We're going to remain the shining city on the hill. And Ohio is going to